Hey everybody, welcome to another model building workshop. I am Mr. Allen coming to you on behalf of the Community Libraries of Providence from my basement workshop here in Providence, Rhode Island. And we are looking at, yes, another Caproni. Pretty soon you'll have a Caproni of your own. So this is the Caproni CA310 Libeccio or Libeccio. I kind of sampled and looked around and found there's two possible pronunciations for this. So Libeccio or Libeccio is I think it's a southwest wind that comes off of Corsica. So and the Ghibli, which is the Caproni 309, was a desert wind. And there's others. Each one seems to be named a different wind. So basically, you've got a lot of Capronis that are pretty much breaking wind every which way. So, anyway, joking aside, this is the Azur 1/72nd scale Caproni CA310. And this one is in markings for Yugoslavia, the Croat, and Hungarian versions. Granted, honestly, I think if you got some Italian decals, you could probably easily do this as Italian as well. There is another boxing of this kit from Azur that has the Italian markings as well as the Spanish Civil War. And I think there's yet another one that has Norwegian markings, so with skis too. So there's a bunch of different variations to this aircraft. On the box cover, we see the Yugoslavian version, which probably would have been present in the April 1941 invasion from the Axis forces. So anyway, claims it's in an overall silver, although it looks kind of gray on the box cover here. Anyhow, so there we go. So Azur is Azur, I think it's Azur. They're a limited run model company. They do use injection molded plastic and some resin and photo-etched parts. And here's the instruction sheet here. It has a very long article. Well, I won't say very long. I mean, for a model kit, that's a lot. Let's put it that way. So these are, yeah, it says that the Ghibli, the 309, I know in Japan they refer to it as Ghibli, Studio Ghibli, but anyhow, it's Ghibli in Italian apparently. And so these aircraft, the 309 was designed for colonial aviation as a light bomber. The 310 was developed at the same time. Let's see, what does it say here? It had all wooden wing, tubular framework, partially covered by metal and linen, which you can see that in the design here when you look at it. So anyway, let's have a look at the instruction sheet. So they've got the parts breakdown here, which is quite a bit, because you get different types of media, different types of material that these parts are made out of. So this photo-etched fret is a clear, and then there's the resin, and then the injection molded plastic. Paint colors are listed by name in Czech and English, and then you have Gunzasengio colors referenced here as well. So some of the challenge with these limited run kits. You see there's a lot of, there's the photo etch and the resin pieces there to help make the cockpit up. And you got to pay attention because the different versions of this that are in this kit, there's Hungarian Croatian, and Yugoslavian. So they have different things that are peculiar to those aircraft. So you need to pay attention to that when you're working on the kit, because it mentions here, you know, the glass on the front nose piece. It's different for the different variations. I picked up the Edward Dyke cut flexible mask set for this because there's a lot of glazing to that window, and I just wanted to see if I could get this and make it work a little easier for me, because that's a lot to do. And then you have the landing gear, which looks a little tricky since this involves several different types of media to put that together. Same thing with the engines. So this looks like it could be challenging for me. I'm not the best with the multimedia kits. I'm not a fan of photo-etch. I do find that challenging. And I am concerned about some of these pieces, but we'll see how they go. Because you got to bend the fenders for the wheels and some of the other little support pieces that are going on the landing gear. They look like they're going to be very tiny and probably make me want to pull my hair out. So we'll see how that goes. Sometimes I just get tempted to do things like that by putting the wheels up, but I don't know if that would matter here because it looks like you're going to see the landing gear even with it up. So that might be a challenge. Again, there's different types of engines here, or a different look to them, depending on which version you're doing. So I'll show you that again, because some of them have, you know, like a disc in front, so, you know, for lack of a better explanation, and one version does not. So again, pay attention to which one you're doing. Should go without saying, right? But anyhow. And then you get the paint and decal placement guide here, which I do have these in color, but I printed out. You can do that because they give you the code. You can do that online. So the Yugoslav one says it's an overall silver. Do have some questions about that one because I would think that there would be an anti-glare panel there, but apparently no. Although photos of them on the runway didn't seem to have black there either, but that makes me wonder, are they silver or were they gray? Anyway, I don't know. Just going with what they tell me here, and for now that's probably correct until I can prove otherwise. So we'll go with that for now. Here's the Croatian one, which is in a dark green, light gray with the yellow eastern front markings on it. It's got that fun red and white checkerboard emblem. And then the last one here, the part of this is speculation. And I'll show you this in color in a moment. This is the Hungarian one, which they're thinking it's a light green and dark green mottled camouflage over the light gray. But they do admit it could be sand with dark green. They're not completely sure. So there's some creative license here. So let's look at these color profiles here in color. So here's what we're talking about. Light green, dark green. Although I've usually seen this scheme, well, the light green, dark green combination, I'll call it, with a light green base and dark green blotches or, you know, spots over it. Not familiar with this style, but who knows? Maybe it's legit. Shouldn't always be negative, but I'm familiar with it being slightly different. This has got the early war chevrons that the Hungarians were using. So I think this lists this as pre-war. And as I mentioned, they're saying the Verde Mimetico color is speculative as it could be sand. And it's saying this is the Hungarian Air Force in 1938, 1939. And they give you two different numbers here. So it's B402 or 403. So you have some options which one you want to pick. So that's the Hungarian variant. And a very attractive camo scheme. Next up, we have the Croatian one, which is the dark green and gray with the yellow theater bands and that cool checkerboard. I've seen other variations of this with some camouflage. And this is from autumn of 1941. And again, they give you different numbers, so you could do machine 1001, 1003, through 1006. So depending on how you want to number yours. So that's that one. And for sake of argument, this is the Yugoslavian one. I didn't print out that one because I think that handles the job well. And for added fun, if you bought the Italian version, oh, this has nothing to do with this kit. That's interesting. So, but here's an Italian version here. And as I mentioned, it's not that difficult if you had decals lying around or even just white paint for the cross, because I noticed there's no coat of arms on that cross there. I mean, you could probably do this easily enough with that kit if you wanted to, if you didn't want to buy the Italian variant of it. Because, interestingly, on eBay, I'm finding that the prices for the different marking options is very different. So this was like $30, I think, cheaper than the one with the Italian and Spanish Civil War markings. Not sure why, but so I bought this one. And besides, I thought these options could be good, which they are, so I'm not disappointed. Again, the test is going to be building this because, all right, so here's a bag of photo-etched. Not photo-etched, this is the resin. And resin and I don't always get along, but I will try to be optimistic, and hopefully these look pretty good, to be honest. Not that I thought they wouldn't be, but I have seen some kits with these resin parts, and they're on these, you know, gargantuan blocks that you have to chisel out of there like you're trying to do Mount Rushmore. And that's a real drag because, you know, with power tools and all kinds of things, eventually you break the piece off from this block and then hope it doesn't crack down the middle while you're doing it. So there are some downsides to doing photo etch. Again, calling it photo etch. You can tell I don't like photo etch. You keep referring to it. So anyhow, but that's the resin stuff there. If you can see it. I'm not going to take it out because I have a feeling they're going to fall on the floor and I'll be cursing. And we don't want that right now. At least I don't. What else is hiding in here? Okay. So here's some of the engine cowlings and those interesting engine parts there for that version. You can see the fabric details on the fuselage sides there and on the tail pieces there. Then we have, come on, here's the wings. and propellers. Really fine detail. I like the detail on the flaps, the cloth fabric look on that, and then you got the underside looks really nice there. So that's rather impressive. Propellers are there. Landing gear parts for the most part. Now, here's the decals, which look beautiful. Again, kind of the selling point of the kit for this version. But don't those look magnificent? Very colorful options. So yeah, looking at this, it does make me kind of like, which one do I want to do? And I'll have to make a decision at some point. I do kind of like doing the one with the camouflage and the Hungarian chevrons. I'm kind of leaning toward that. But I gotta say, those other ones are pretty nice as well. And here is the photo etch. This is actually photo etch. And you can see those parts there. Hopefully you can see that okay. And a lot of that is, you know, cockpit detail, like the harness and the seat belts and things of that nature. The ones that concern me are the ones that are going to go on the landing gear, but they don't look too bad when I'm looking at them here. Again, it's going to be a pair of tweezers, some super glue, and a prayer. That's usually how those go, so we'll see how that works out. Anyway, so that is Azur's Caproni 310. And I've got a little bit of history on this plane over here in one of these here books. Ta-da! I know I use this one a lot, the Phil Lunston book. They've got a little bit here on this, because they do kind of lump them all together. So here's some Capronis there. And here you go. Here the 310 is there, and that's the one that's in the Norwegian markings, which Azur does make that variant as well. You can buy, and that's a pretty remarkable color scheme, isn't it? That would look pretty cool on a shelf. Look at that. That's quite attractive scheme. A dream or a nightmare for an airbrush paint job, as most of these tend to be. All right, so the 310 Libeccio was the first of the family to have retractable landing gear, because the 309 did not. And later versions tended to be more powerful as they went on. And you get the 312, the step nose and the unstep nose. And we'll be talking about that kit, that Italeri kit, in the future. We might as well just do the whole party and get all these Capronis at some point on our channel here. So it's a diverse family, as it mentioned in the instruction sheet. It had wooden wings, fuselages of welded steel and tubing covered with fabric. The Ghibli was a light multi-role machine for African use, with radio, cameras, light bomb racks, and 2 machine guns, one fixed and one in a dorsal turret, or dorsal position, it says. The more powerful examples carried up to 5, 12.7 and 3 7.7 machine guns with bombs. There's a torpedo one. Yeah, that's going through the entire series, like the 314, 313 we talked about recently. Yeah, so the 309 Ghibli is the Desert Wind. 310 Libeccio is the Southwest Wind. And it goes on to 311, 311M, 312, and those variants, 313, 314, and there is a 316 also. I don't think there's a model of the 316. I could be wrong, but I think that was a seaplane. Yeah, and it mentions, all right, users of this aircraft were, the Italians, and obviously the Luftwaffe used some of them. Croatia, Hungary, Yugoslavia, Norway, as we talked about, Spain, the Spanish Civil War, and Sweden, as we mentioned in the 313, 314 video, that they had those also. So there you go. So these were used as all sorts of things. The 312. Oh, it mentions more about the seaplane. That there was a 312 IS seaplane as well. I'm not familiar with that one. 310 is listed as a utility transport plane. Okay. 311 light bomber, 312 bomber and torpedo. 312 IS is the seaplane. 313 is a bomber, torpedo bomber. 314 coastal patrol and torpedo bomber. 316 is listed as a catapult reconnaissance seaplane. Quite a lot going on there in that family. Yeah, a lot to digest. All right. Looks like this could be a fun one to build. Hope it is. It looks beautiful. This piece is in the box, luckily. Looks like pretty good kit. Oh, I should show you the interior. There is some nice interior detail there. Although there are some pin marks that I'll have to file out, but it's not bad. Well, if I clean those ejection pin markings, yeah, because they are pretty noticeable. And they're going to have to get out of there, yeah. But otherwise, not bad at all. Okay, we will see you next time on the next model building workshop. Take care now. Stay safe and keep on building.